Express yourself. Express yourself. You don't never need help from nobody else. All you got to do now.
Express yourself.
Whatever you do,
Do it good.
whatever you
Oh,
Lord, Lord.
Whatever you do it good. I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna try to do this the right way. What's up, people? Where y'all at? Where you at? Where you at?
It's not what you look like
When you do it.
What you're doing is what you're doing when you're doing what you look like you're doing. Express yourself.
Oh, sniggity snap.
Express yourself.
Damn, it does what it want to do. Come on, music, where you at? Okay, I guess he did what he wanted to do, so I should do what I need to do. He came up a whole half minute sooner.
Express yourself.
What's up, cuz?
Express yourself.
Oh. Whatever you do.
Need help.
Whatever you do.
Nobody else.
Whatever you do.
Got to do now.
Whatever you do. That's the remix.
Whatever you do,
There you go. They caught up with me. They finally caught up with me.
do it good.
Oh.
Whatever you do, Lord, Lord. Do it good.
What's up, folks? It's about 7:30. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's happening? Hey, hey.
Not what you look like.
Thumbs up. Can you hear me?
It's what you
Huh.
when you're doing.
What you look like you're doing? Express yourself.
Express yourself.
Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to cut that right quick. I'm going to go ahead and kind of get started. It's been a week, folks. It's been a week. To some of y'all, you know, I've been feeling kind of blasé this week. So I'm kind of glad that we got what I call a little bit of a reprieve from some of the madness we call politics and going into this Democratic convention coming up. As always, I want to welcome you guys. This is my 22nd podcast. At some point, I'm going to stop calling out numbers, but I do it to remind me that even in retirement, I have a purpose. So we have a purpose, really. Tonight, I'm kind of switch it up a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about current events, but I decided that we all needed a break from the madness that's kind of going on in the country as well. So I'm going to take a pause and refresh your spirit. You understand? I think that's very important. We can't just allow ourselves to be lulled to sleep because the opposition never rests. This week, I was checking things out, and I affectionately titled this week's podcast, Politics in 100 Years. So hold on tight. I've got a little surprise planned on you. So sit back and enjoy the ride, okay? Why do I do this podcast? I asked myself this question. I started doing this podcast for two reasons. First of all, I really want to write a book, but me being the nerd that I am, the book is going to be entitled The Paradigm Shift of Public Policy Since the Reagan Administration. I know, right? Real page turner. But then I wanted to, some things started happening, current events, the things with the young man Jean that was killed in Dallas and some other things, and then all of this Democrat 22 people vying for the Democrat nomination. So as current events started spinning out of control, I felt a need to shine a light on some of the madness. So here it is. That was my motivation. If I kind of get right into it, the whole thing with the whole Reagan administration, I believe the 80s and the Reagan's relationship with the Contras is when we started to pivot toward what I call a class society. We all know about the cocaine and crack and all of that. It had something to do with it, but what really, I think, kicked it off was we became very selfish. I can remember seeing bumper stickers that said DINK, D-I-N-K. Basically, it means dual income, no kids. I also remember a bumper sticker that said, he who dies with the most toys wins. How stupid is that? Singing in the gospel choir, I remember traveling with our pastor, Reverend Hardy, to various funerals. And at this one funeral, as he started to preach, he said, I've officiated over hundreds of funerals, but I have yet to see a U-Haul truck following the hearse to the graveyard. And that kind of resonated with me, and it stuck with me because no matter what you make here, you can't take it with you. And we all know that our heirs just find something to fight over once we're gone. So blood money, I won't even get into that. That's a whole nother thing. As I kind of look at what's going on right now, I was watching TV, I think it was last night or night before last. I'm retired, so I can't remember what day it was. But seriously, Bernie was on Jimmy Kimmel, and he was talking about, he believed in Biden, but, even though he's behind and this, that, and the other, but it contradicted what he said going into Super Tuesday. Going into Super Tuesday, he really thought that he would be blowing everybody away because those bullshit, no other word, caucuses in Iowa and New Hampshire. And I've always said, and I'll say it again, it's just not a true representation of how we as a country, we as a society, we as a people feel. So I knew things would swing towards Joe's way. Bernie said if he was behind, he would go ahead and concede and encourage his people to follow Biden. The longer he holds out, the less likely that is to happen. Some of those people are just, and I've heard people say, if this person doesn't win, or if Biden doesn't choose this person for his vice president, then I'm not voting for him. Guys, the eyes on the prize is simple. We got to get this fool out of the White House. And I just happen to believe that Biden has the most chance of not only getting it done, but the most experience to do what needs to be done. The most horrific thing for me was during the initial debates. All Bernie did was talk about Obama and his policies and this, that, and the other, and how it was time for a change. But the first thing he does is, after Bloomberg's out, he follows Bloomberg's lead, and he's using these old endorsements to push it and try to boost himself, but it's not really working. There must be something intoxicating about running for president, because it seems like these folks, they don't want to admit defeat and ride into the sunset gracefully. There seems to be an attitude of I'll burn the party down before I do that. And that's kind of what happened in 2016, and that's how we got to where we are. I get it. There's a plethora of politicians that said, if Trump can be president, then why can't I? And I feel like breaking into a chorus of somewhere over the rainbow. If little birds fly over the rainbow, then why? Yeah, right, whatever. Why can't I? It just ain't happening. We're more aware. It's kind of like you could get us once, but it's not going to happen again. At least I hope not. I see people more involved, more engaged, and more aware. Corona. I put out this scathing thing because Corona's been around for a while. As with most viruses, it's mutated, it's evolved, and it's changed, and what have you. But I just don't know if it was as simple as hand sanitizer, it would be nothing to worry about. So I went and I looked at a couple of things with INH and CDC and look at some of the stats and information that's out there now. And what I found out is the World Health Organization has deemed that Corona is a worldwide pandemic. Okay, but there's really not enough information for them to talk about statistics, survival rates versus death rates. What it boils down to is to date we got about 100,000 people that have been infected with the virus, and about 3,000 of those people died, which means there's about 3% death rate at this point. The fact is, this has been around for a long time. It's mutated, it's changed into this deadly disease. This new outbreak is just too recent. We don't have enough information, partly because our so-called commander-in-chief gutted CDC and fired most of the personnel that would be working in the pandemic department. So to date, let me just reiterate, about 100,000 cases worldwide, and about 3,000 deaths, and most of those deaths are in China. So enough about Corona. Here's the surprise, and I wanted to move this along for a couple reasons. I know you guys are tired. I'm tired of hearing about all of this madness. We want to get to New Orleans. New Orleans, man. Yes, I want to get to New Orleans. I'm missing them po' boys, man. I want to get home, but we want to get to November and have this be over. We want to get this man out of the White House and get back on with our lives. So we're all a little, what I call war weary, after being in the suck, after being in this advanced fighting stage for the last 3.5 years. We just want it to be over. But I just want us to be diligent. This last week, let me pivot one more time. I've been feeling real blasé, and it came to a head yesterday. To those who kind of follow me on Facebook, I want to thank everybody that sent me well wishes and condolences and helping me to remember some of the things that went on with my mom. We're at an age now when we've either lost our parents or our parents are at an advanced stage where we know we could lose them at any time. So, if you still have your parents, show them that you love them. Like I said, my mom had this thing of saying, give people their flowers while they could still smell them. And it took me 60 years to realize that she was talking about, it was symbols. It was a symbolistic thing. The symbolism of it was those flowers that they could smell is that unconditional, unsolicited, spontaneous love that we show to people that we really care, we really love. So that's what she was talking about. Sadly, I lost my mom, and just after the Wednesday after Mother's Day in 1999. So my 100 years has to do with yesterday would have been my mom's 100th birthday, if you can wrap your head around that. Like those of you who've lost your parents, I see things on my, let me tell, okay. I see things on my news feed, on my timeline, and I know you're going through the same things. So we can relate to each other and we can be there for each other. Um, this week has really been a roller coaster. I smile when I remember some of the things that I did, but then I smile even more when I realize I inherited my mom's sense of community, caring, and wanting to make a difference. She really wanted to make the world a better place and leave it better than she found it. So, growing up, my house, like 90% of your houses, had four pictures on the wall. We all had these four pictures: John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, I know y'all laughing now, Martin Luther King, and Jesus. I kid you not. So my household was pretty much the same. Yesterday, I shared two stories about my mom. It is time like this that I wish I had a live audience, because I would like to hear you guys share some of your stories as well. And I think it would be cathartic for all of us. I think it would help us, just taking us back to simple time when we had the mothers who really made our neighborhoods into communities. But there are two incidents that come to mind tonight that I kind of want to share with you guys, because when I went back, I realized my portrayal of my mom's was that of an angel. But my mom's was very well rounded. Those people that are related to me could tell you, you didn't want to be on her bad side. She'd give you the shirt off her back literally. But if you mistreated her or you were unappreciative, you felt the wrath of Clara. We moved into the projects in 1971. Now, the Desire Housing Project was probably one of, if not the biggest, projects in the city of New Orleans. It was constructed of all brick, and, we called it Brick City. It had a lot of other names, but one of the things that made it notorious was in like 1970, the Black Panthers set up a New Orleans chapter, and it was in the Desire Housing Project. The residents of Desire kind of wrapped themselves around the Panthers because they were doing things like, breakfast and lunch programs and school programs, and just kind of doing some things for the community that the government wasn't doing or wouldn't do. It got to a point where it was their epicenter, and there was a showdown in the Desire. It got so bad that the police wouldn't even ride through the Desire projects. Like I said, we moved there in 1971. It was bad. My mom said that we were doing this because she said 1 week you want to be Bruce Lee, the next week you want to be Muhammad Ali, then you want to be Larry Graham, and you want to bass, and you want to be Fred Wesley, and you want a trombone. All of that takes money, son. She said, so I'm going to move down here so that you can have some money to do the things, pursue the interests that you're interested in. But don't get down there and act a fool, because you're going to have to deal with me. So here's dealing with Clara. I had an older brother. My brother was 17 years my senior. My brother was the black sheep of the family. He ran with the Panthers and he ran with the thugs. My brother went to Vietnam and he came back. Now, prior to going into Vietnam and getting into all of this madness, my brother was a playboy. He wore nothing but tailor-made suits, and he was wearing alligator shoes before T.D. Jakes knew what an alligator was. He came back from Vietnam as a militant, calling himself Abdullah. Now, his real name was Sammy, or Samuel. Samuel was his given name. One day, shortly after the King assassination, I was being indoctrinated by my older brother on the ills of the blonde-haired, blue-eyed devil when my moms walked in. At the time, my brother was about 30-ish. He fought Nam and he was claiming Black Panther credentials. Moms just wasn't having it. She calmly said, Sammy, don't be filling the boy's head with all of that foolishness. As a matter of fact, get your behind up and go put that trash out. My brother sat back and he said, Sammy is a slave name. My name is Abdullah. Then he tried to stab my mom's down for all of 1 minute. That seemed like 10 hours. Finally, he stood up and he said, he looked at my mom's. The first thing she could get her hands on was this cast iron skillet. And she started shaking it like this. My brother stood up, he picked up the trash, and he said, Mom, I'm going to go ahead and put out the trash, but come on, Mom, call me Abdullah. Moms didn't play. Now, if you know, my mom's was about 5'2", so we towered over her head. When I was about 12 years, I had what I call my Waterloo. Napoleon was the baddest general around until he met his Waterloo. I met mine at the age of 12. At about 12, my voice was starting to change. And I was starting to get a little hair on my dang, and I was getting some pubic hair, and I was going from Michael Jackson to Larry Graham. So I thought I was bad, as the old people say, I was smelling myself. You cannot believe in God and not believe in the devil. I know he's real because on that day, the devil told me, you should tell your mama, you too old for whippings. And I said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So my mom's is in the front room. And back in the days, you had one TV. You either watch what your parents watch or you didn't watch nothing. My mom's was watching Cannon. Now, all of you folks that's old enough know Cannon was this big, fat detective, private eye who drove this Lincoln, you understand? On this particular episode, and I'll never forget it, because my mom's watching the TV and I walk up in there and I just couldn't have this conversation. I had to do something to introduce the conversation. I needed a segue. So my mom's just watching Cannon. And I'm looking at the TV, and the dude runs and catches a bus. And I said, Ma, that's nonsense. How fat boy gonna catch the bus when he can't even catch his breath? And I just burst into laughter. My mom said, boy, look, let me watch my program in peace. Either you watch it, the program, sit down and be quiet, or you get your behind back in your room. I'm about 2 minutes off your behind. I said, since we having this conversation, I need to let you know I'm too old for whippets. Then common sense came to head, and I started backing up to my room. But my mom's being my mom, she just wasn't going to let this go. So my mom stood up, and she stood all the way in my chest this high. And she said, who you talking to? And I tried to man up. I inhaled. I was trying to say, okay, let me get it out. I was trying to say, ain't but two people. And before I could say standing there, she hit me in my chest. I flew backwards into the cedar robe. Went through the door. And the clothes are coming down on me. My mom stands up like this, and she said, come on, you a man? You want to be a man? Get up. Come on, I'm going to treat you like a man. I said, no, that's okay. I'm just going to lay right here until you get out my room. Then she turned around and she said, damn it, boy, you made me break my cedar road door. So she walked out the room, and I'm standing there rubbing my chest, feeling like Richard Pryor. At least his chest wrapped around his dad's fist. My chest just caved in. And if you saw pictures of me when I was young, I was all of 140, 45 pounds carrying 2 bricks in a shiffer robe. My mom's came back, and here's where old women was. They would hit you with this line: this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. She had a tear in her eye, and she started to tell me about the sacrifices she made, the sacrifices my dad made, and so forth and so on, and how people died and marched from Montgomery to Selma. And before I know it, I was crying harder than if she had whipped me for 20 minutes. That was my last whipping. What was funny about it, it taught me something. My mom's was no joke. She worked her butt off for me. I am who I am because of the sacrifices that she and my dad made. So they weren't together, but you couldn't tell because you couldn't turn one against the other. They had a unified front as far as their children were concerned. And if you know anything about NOPD back in the 70s, they were crooked as hell. I would have taken a ride with NOPD before I faced my mom. To add insult to injury, when she came back with the tear, she started telling me this stuff. I don't know whether it was the civil rights speech or that beatdown, but that was the last time that I ever got in trouble with my mom. And when my boys start acting up and they say, hey man, we about to, I'm like, nah, I'll give you some ideas. I did my little thing. But first of all, I made sure whoever I hung out with, I was one of the fastest so I wasn't going to get caught. Because if Miss Clara knew, folks, I wish you guys were here because I'd like to hear about your mothers. I'd like to hear about the things that made my friends and family on Facebook the people that I call friends and family. So that's what's on my head today. What's happening in D.C. and the Democrats and the Republicans is a byproduct. It came to be because we forgot from whence we came. We forgot some of the lessons that our parents taught us, and we're falling down and teaching those lessons to our children and our children's children. We got to get back to that community. So ladies, I challenge you. I'm hard on you because you are the glue. You are the cement that holds the neighborhood together, that holds the family together. And simply because you and the baby's daddy or the father or the husband aren't together, and I feel like I'm preaching, so I'm going to pass a hat in a minute. Just because y'all aren't together doesn't mean you should badmouth that person to your kids. If you call yourself a real man, you should never call the mother of your children by any other name other than the name that her mama and her daddy gave you, unless you're using boo, sweetheart, babe, love. You understand? So that's where I am. That's all I got for you tonight. I'm going to leave it right there. Before I go, I'm going to ask you to do 2 things for me. In closing, I want you to do 2 things. I want you to take somebody with you to vote, and I want you to turn somebody on to my podcast. Click on my YouTube, click subscribe, go back. Look at the podcast that you haven't had a chance to see yet. Review some of those that you came in late on. There's a lot of my blood, sweat, and tears in there. You understand? This is Miss Clara's baby boy. As always, importing hair grease. I got something to say. I hope to see you here next week. Same Baptiste time, same Baptiste place. I can't do it without you. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being just who you are. But most of all, thank you for letting me be myself again. It's a family affair, folks. Hey, Kaylee's little cuz down. What's up, Gloria? Yes, it is true. Miss Lene, I always wonder if I'm driving home with you, babe. So I'm glad to see your face in the place. She follows me all the way from California. What's up, Jesse? Jesse was like my little brother in high school, and now this man is doing his thing, and he's responsible and all of this. So, we don't share the same thoughts about everything. He really ain't into politics, but I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him there. I'm going to get him there. JR, this brother here, that's my man. Seville, what's up, girl? That's we went to see you and Condor. Well, had a front row ticket to see the evolution of me in politics and how all of this started. You remember what happened when we went to Close Up, when we went to DC, and it ain't stopped. So I'm trying to do that. Liza with a Z, I'm glad you made it tonight, babe. I'm really glad you made it. Hi, Katrina. How you doing, babe? Just kind of shout out to some people here. The other thing, when you guys go to my page, you hit subscribe, leave comments. Look at your videos. Let me know which one was your favorite. Let me know what you liked about it. Let me know what you didn't like about it. It helps me moving forward. Hey, Shirley, what's going on? Luis! That's one of my proteges there. Well, watch his kids grow up, too. What's up, Cousin Floyd? Orlando, what's happening, man? We're going to have to talk about it. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Marion. That's my New Orleans girl all the way. It took me all the way to Atlanta before I could meet her. She from New Orleans. She knows she should have found me earlier. Hey, Angela. Oh, my panky. I tried to hook up with you while you was here, but I figured once you got your thing going, it was a no-go. Big Glenn, Big Henry, Big Hank. Bev, what's up, baby? What's happening? Phaedra, what's up, cuz? Thanks for tuning in. It means the world to me. Gwen, as always, I know you're going to be here. You my boo, you my baby. If you wasn't 36 years older than me, you could have been my baby mama. But instead, she was like my, okay, I'm going to tell y'all. I'll tell y'all the truth. Gwen was actually my babysitter. No, I'm teasing. Gwen and I worked together at George Washington University Hospital, and I've been knowing her like forever, but she's one of my dearest friends. So, folks, as always, I just love y'all for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support. Thanks for your love. Go to my page. Click on subscribe. I'm going to be taking the show there. I'm looking at other venues. I'm going to other podcasts. So this is happening. After this is all over, I'll be trying out some other information. All of this started out of my book. This is how I'm going to be bringing this book to life. The paradigm shift in public policy since the Reagan administration. So all of this is a byproduct. Folks, good night.